Hello everyone, this is a continuation of how to use Unity as a beginner. So if you're new, I suggest checking simple Unity tutorial for beginner in my channel. Link will be in the description down below. Also, if you think this video is helpful, consider subscribing to help us achieve the 500 subscribers milestone. Let's get started. In the last episode, I've shown you guys the Unity basic UI, for example, how to create a new game object, how to create folders, change the game object components, and more. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to begin scripting with Unity. To create a script, go to Assets, right click, and then select Create C# script. And now you can type any name you want. So for now, I just name this test script, but in the future, if you gonna create a new script, you should name this to whatever usage of the script be. For example, if I use the script to control a player, I can name this player controller. Now to open the script, you just need to double click on it and it will open your Visual Studio from your computer, and it might take a while to open up depending on your PC strength, but my PC is pretty good, so here it is. So right off the bat, you see that there are two function or line that you can see right here. So one called void start and one called void update. The start method will trigger every time you hit the play button on your project. In the last video, I also showed you guys how to play your project, and if you don't know that, you can check the video out in the description down below. But after you click that, every comment in between this method will be triggered. So we will use the start method for setting values. For example, if we want to set our character position or in our game, assign a variable value, and more. So next is the update method, and the update method is called once per every frame, and you can also see the description right here. So you will usually use the update method when you control our characters by constantly checking the key that the player press when the project start or when the project is running. Now let's talk about variables. There are three main type of data, which are integer, float, boolean data. The integers are numbers that are not fractions. So let's say I want to create an integer. So what you're gonna do is to first type the data type, which integer is stand for, which in C# is int like this, and then you want our variable name. So let's say a, and then you assign a value to it. You go using the equal sign, and the value can be any number that are not a fraction. So for example, I could put 5 here and make sure to add a semicolon at the end of every line you code. And there's our integer variable. So next is the floats, and float are positive or negative whole number with a decimal point. So for example, to create a float variable, we just need to type float right here, so we can tap for auto complete, and float b will equal to something like 0.5. But after you put a semicolon, you notice that there's an error, and because float is a special data type, and to specify it, you need to add an f behind the value. So if I add a normal f right here, or a capitalized F, it still think that this is a float value, and therefore it doesn't have error. So finally, it's the bool value. So if you want to create a boolean variable, first type bool like this, and let's name it C, and this boolean variable can only be true or false. It's like yes or no in real life, but so bool C can equal to true, or bool C can equal to false. There are also two types of variables, which are public and private. A public variable can be created, or a public or private variable can be created by adding the public or private keyword at the start of a variable. And a public variable can be changed outside of the script, and the private variable is the opposite, so it can only be changed inside the script. So here's an example. Here's a comparison of the private and public variable. and you can see that we can change our public variable value in our project, but for private variable we cannot. And public variable can be used so that we can change the value of our variable so that it can fit our game. And finally, you can set it to private when you think that it's good for your game. So now I will show you guys an example of changing a position of a game object when the script starts. So for example, so in Unity there are also many types of variable, not just integer, float, or boolean value. So there's also variables like data type, like game object. And so if you type public game object and a name with a semicolon, you can get that game object from our project in this variable. And to access the component, you just need to type the game object name. So for example, if I go back to Unity and if I want to change this cube position to 0, 0, 0, you can see that it's in the transform component. And to access this, you just see dot transform, and we want to change the position right here. So tree.transform.position, and we want to change it to 0, 0, 0. But there's also a special data types free value like this, and it's called vector3. And if you're creating a 2D game, it will be named vector2 because we only have the x and y coordinate. So what you want to do is to add a new vector3, and then create a open and close bracket, and now we just need to type 0, 0, and 0. As you can see right here, the script also gives us the clue of how to do it. So now if you save using Ctrl S and go back to Unity, you can see that our script will have a game object and it's a none, and to fill it you just need to drag your game object to this blank. And now if you run the program, you'll see that your game object is now 0, 0, 0. Another thing that I forgot to mention is to assign a script, you just need to drag the script to your game object that you want to assign. So for example, if I will create a new object, so let's create a sphere, and to apply the script, you just need to throw or drag the script and put it into the inspector. And as you can see, the script is applied to the circle. And yeah, that's it. This is the end of this video, and in the next episode, we're going to show you guys how some examples of using a script to control the players. And I'll see you guys then. Bye!